a little bit complicated. Okay, there are different definitions. So as I just look at Paul's computer, there are different formula to calculate this. Okay, so it's a little bit complicated, but let me quickly go through a few very commonly used indicators. Okay, ROI is actually another very similar formula to ROI is ROE, return on equity. Okay. ROE is easier to be calculated. Okay. As you can see here, equity. And if we divide the profit with the total equity, it's easier to be calculated. Okay. So ROE, return on equity, measures how efficient we use the equity as a shareholder. Okay. But the equity, initially equity investment, that's the same concept. Right? Initially, if in the case 3 of us establish a company, right, and I contribute 2 million, the other 2 shareholders will contribute 1 million respectively. And in this case, equity is the initial investment. Okay, so RE and ROI, that's the same in the first year, the first period. Okay, but later, if we have additional shareholders, okay, for example, later we invite Paul as another shareholder, and Paul contributes to another 1 million. Okay. Then the equity, total equity will be higher, right? And then here ROE that's the same. Okay. Depending on the initial equity, okay, we need to bear in mind income statement. How do we calculate this number? Okay. We have a period, right? During this period, normally 1 year. Okay. Within this year, how much revenue we generated, right? How much we spent, right? Then we come up with a profit. So we try to collect the data within the past 12 months, right? Within in the past year. Okay. For example, if we use calendar year, okay, starting from January the 1st, 2020, okay, all the way to December the 31st, 2020, and within the 12th month of this year, how much revenue we generated, and how much cost we spent, okay, then we come up with this number. Okay. Remember, we use this with the period. Okay. But here, within this period, we make this much of money, right? That's our profit. But when we turn this, when we calculate ROE, for example, what is the E? The base of equity. It makes more sense. It makes sense that we use. Where are we going to get the number of equity here? The beginning of the year or the end of the year? The beginning, right? Remember, this is important. Return on equity, we use the number of equity in the beginning of the year, right, in the income statement. Okay. So it depends. If in the beginning of the year, the equity is this much, okay, then we divide the profit by equity. That's easy. Right? But for example, about 5 months later, okay, we invited Paul to contribute additional equity. Then this number will become the next year, in the beginning of the next year, we're going to have this much of equity. Okay, so that's equity. But return on investment is it depends on how we gather the money to become our equity. Okay, there are several ways for us to gather the money, to collect the money, to become the equity of our firm. Okay. We can invite additional shareholders, or if we issue the shares, right, to be public listed, we actually trade the shares on the stock market. And if we list our shares in different stock markets, we would expect different prices. Right? If we list this company's share on Tokyo Stock Exchange, right, or Nasdaq, or Taiwan Stock Exchange, right, then we have different, we have the variation of the value of the shares. Then we have different costs of raising the money to become the equity. So in some of the formula, they use the cost of investment as the number here to calculate ROI. But when we talk about cost of investment, conceptually it's something like this. We have different sources to raise funds to become equity. Invite additional shareholder, or we try to list public listed our shares and then trade it on the stock market. But we encounter different costs. Sometimes the cost will be higher. For example, if we are going to list our company in Nasdaq, the cost may be higher because initial cost of filing the application and go through the processes, and also we need to hire the accountants to review a lot of information, to do the annual report, to file the annual report to the SEC, Security Exchange Authority in the United States, for example. The cost may be higher, for example. If we list the company in Taiwan Stock Exchange, the cost may be lower, for example. This is only conceptual. So we have different sources of raising funds to become equity, but the costs can be different. But a very precise way to calculate the cost of investment is the so-called weighted average cost of capital. Okay, WACC. Okay, weighted average cost of capital, which means we calculate conceptually this is the average cost of investment. Okay, we calculate the average cost of raising funds to become capital from different sources, and then we come up with WACC. Okay, that's the concept. Okay, so here, all in all, okay, I'm going a little bit too far. Okay, I'm trying to talk about business activities here. This is daily operations. Okay, so in a firm, we have different departments in charge of different activities. We expect them to do a good job, but we need to have a financial measure to see whether they are doing a good job or not. Okay, so for the firm as a whole, if your firm is publicly listed, then the investors, they are going to choose which firm to invest. They are going to compare the financial performance of different firms. So when we invest our stock, we invest our money to buy stocks on the stock market, we choose Apple, we choose Google, we choose other firms like McDonald's. But how do we evaluate? That's here. We have profitability, net profit, or net profit rate. Net profit rate is here. Okay. Net profit divided by sales revenue. This is net profit rate. Okay. Net profit is a monetary amount. Okay. But to be more accurate to tell whether this company is doing a good job, then we use net profit divided by sales revenue to come up with net profit rate, or profitability. This is a very common use measure to see whether this firm is doing a good job. And there are some other financial indicators to tell whether this company is doing a good job or not. If we use net profit rate, which means net profit divided by sales revenue, then we're measuring, among the revenue we collected, how much actually turned into profit. That's the net profit rate. But if we use ROIC, we have different RO sum difference. If we use ROA, okay, return on asset, it's easy to understand. Right? Return means net profit divided by asset. Right. So what do we measure with ROA? How efficient we use our asset. Right. How efficient we use our asset. If we generate more revenue last year with the same asset, but we generate less revenue this year, then we are doing a worse job this year. Right? It depends on how well or how efficient we use our asset. In our return on equity is the same. How well or how efficient we use our equity to generate revenue, to generate profit. In ROI is the same, but the ROI, the I decision, investment decision, is a little bit complicated. Okay. For big firms, for small firms, that's pretty close to ROI. But for big firms, they have different sources of raising funds to become capital, to become equity. Okay. Then we need to have a more precise measure of ROI. Okay. Then WACC is a very commonly used measure for this investment, cost of investment. Okay. And there are some other measures. Okay. But the thing about this, in a firm, who has the decision, authority to decide the sources of investment? Okay, it's a little bit complicated. Let me use the concept like this. Okay. Okay. Investment is a decision, okay, that is made by normally the CFO or CEO, the top executive team. Which is CEO, CFO, COO, okay, etc. Okay. Or top management team, TNT. Okay. And if we have an organization structured like this, okay, divided the organization into different product divisions. Okay. This is, for example, laptop. Okay. This is server, printer, and software, etc. Okay, this is based on the HP's organization chart. Okay, we divide the organization into different product BU, right, or product divisions, and under each we have their own functions. Okay. We have R&D here, production, marketing, R&D, production, marketing. Okay, this is if this is the case. Okay, if this is the case, overall, the company's performance can be measured on profitability rate, or ROE, ROA, or ROI. Okay, so this is the measure for investors to distinguish or to tell the performance of the whole company. But how? In this case, how does sales revenue come from? Okay, sales revenue of this firm is comprised of sales revenue of each product division. Okay, we sell a lot of laptops, we sell a lot of servers, printers, software. Put them together, that's the total sales revenue of this firm. Okay. So laptop division, they have their sales revenue. Server division, they have their sales revenue. Okay, put them together, we have the sales revenue of the firm. Then we have a consolidated financial statement, income statement like this. Okay, and cost, that's the same. In this case, laptop, they have the cost of production. If they have the factories here, their own factory producing laptops only. Okay. And here, server product division, they have the factory to produce servers only. They have the printer factories to produce printers only, okay, etc. So in this case, the cost, they have the cost here. They have the cost here. Okay, what about expenses? Okay, they have the R&D expenses here. And marketing expenses. Then, if we try to measure whether each department, each product BU or product division is doing a good job or not, how are we going to evaluate each of them? Okay, whether they are doing a good job or not. We hope that they can sell a lot, right? Okay. And there are different ways to evaluate their performance. Okay. If we only look at their sales revenue, that's one way to look at it, right? Okay. So if we try to look at, to measure their performance by their sales revenue, then if they can maximize their sales revenue, regardless of cost and expenses, then we measure their performance through sales revenue. Then each of the product BU will become the revenue center. Okay, that's the language we use. Okay, revenue centers are actually evaluated with the sales revenue, total sales revenue of this department. Okay, but what's the problem if we evaluate each product BU with only sales revenue? What can be the problem? If we give financial responsibility of revenue center, which means we evaluate them based on their sales revenue, what can be the potential issues here?
Different products, market situations.
Okay, and we have different markets. Okay, that's one issue. Okay, and what else? From the company's perspective, if we only evaluate with sales revenue, for the whole company, are we going to have positive or negative? If they spend too much, that's a problem. If they spend too much. So in this case, we have another alternative to evaluate each product division's performance. If we give them the financial responsibility of revenue centers, we are only looking at the sales revenue, but we ignore the money that they spend. But if they spend too much, the company is going to lose money. So instead of giving them the financial responsibility of revenue center, what is a better way? Okay, we give them normally, in this case, we give them the financial responsibility of the profit center. Okay. Okay, if we give them the financial responsibility of profit center, what does it mean? They are responsible of their profitability each. Laptop division, they are going to try to sell a lot of product, but they don't want to spend too much. Then they have very good profitability. Or profit rate. Okay, but how do they control or manage? They have here. We need to spend money. Okay, they have their financial statement, income statement like this. Okay. If we give the financial responsibility of profit center, then each product division, they are going to have their own income statement. Okay. So for that top division, they are going to decide this, they can manage those. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Okay. How are we going to increase sales revenue? Okay. For this, okay. If we produce, okay, we have a factory in this case. Let's come back to this again. Okay. What are the management practices that we can use to increase sales revenue? If we want to sell more, what do we need to do? We can spend some money on R&D, okay, to develop a better product. The product will be more competitive on the market. Okay. That's one way to increase the sales revenue. Right. Spend the money on R&D. Okay. And what else? Yes. Advertising. Right. And that's the money we spend for market expenses. Right. Okay. And what else? Lower the cost. Okay. If we lower the cost, everything else being equal, we're going to have higher profits. Okay. But if we lower the cost too much, the quality may suffer. Right. Okay. So we need to, manage. Right. We try to lower the cost, but without sacrificing the quality or product features, for example. Okay. So that's the concept. Okay. So we need to spend money to increase the sales revenue. Right. Or if we can spend zero, for example. Okay. Conceptually. If we don't do this, we don't manage cost and expenses. Okay. For example, we try to do something with this only. Okay. What can we do? In this case, we actually try to focus on sales revenue only. How can we maximize sales revenue? In this case, without spending money here. Okay. If this is equal, okay, we only do this. Okay. What can we? How can we increase sales revenue?
Offer more discount.
Okay, offer more discount. Okay, so if we offer more discount, what does it mean? We sell this, for example, in the beginning, we sell this at 20 NT, 20 Taiwan dollars each, for example. Right. If we offer discount, 10% off, right, we're going to sell this, the unit price will become 18 Taiwan dollars. Right. If we offer 10% discount. Okay. But when we offer 10% discount, the unit price drops. Okay. What is going to happen? There are several possibilities. Okay. When we use discount, what do we expect? More sales volume, right? More sales volume. So actually, in this case, sales revenue is equal to unit price multiplied by quantity, volume, or quantity. How many pieces to sell? If we lower the price, but we can increase the volume even more, in the end, we can increase the sales revenue. Right? That's why we use discount. But what is the assumption here? If we use discount to drop the unit price from 20 to 18, however, the sales volume did not pick up, then what is going to happen? This will be lower, right? So when we use discount, what is our assumption? Right. We assume that if we drop the price, the sales volume will be increased, will be higher. Right? But what if this is not? Okay, so discount, we need to be careful. Okay, but so in economics or in management, what is the concept of this? If we drop the price, the sales volume will be increased. Then it can increase a little bit or increase a lot. Okay. So it depends on what. Or increase a little bit or a lot. It depends on supply and demand. And of course, okay. So what is the term that we use? It depends on the consumer's. What is the term? Yes. What's that?
Consumers purchasing power.
Right. If the consumers are, if they care, right, if they care about this, then you are going to win here. But if you don't care, then this will not be increased. Right? What is the term? What is the term we use? If they care, they are in marketing. They are sensitive to price. Right? Price sensitive. Right? If we have price sensitive consumers, then this will work. Right? If they are not price sensitive, they are not sensitive to price, then it won't work. Right? But here, if we can only make decisions, but if you cannot make decisions here, okay, then discount is a very common way for salespeople to sell more. Okay? But sometimes it may not be effective. Okay. But what are the other possibilities to increase sales revenue? If we don't do advertisement, we don't do this. We don't. This is fixed. Okay. We don't touch the spending. We only try to do sales revenue, to do something to increase sales revenue. What are the other possible ways?
Bundle.
Okay, bundling, right? We can bundle. Okay. The concept is similar to discount. Right? We bundle it together. Okay. Then we can do some kind of. This is more like a sales promotion. If you bundle this, then what are we going to offer? If you buy, we sell each of them at $20 NT, okay, $20. Bundle them together. Then, yes.
Maybe we'll give something free, or the price will be cheaper if you just buy one.
Okay. Bundle is very similar to discount. Right? You bundle them together. If you buy them together, well, you can buy two at the price of 38, for example. Right? Similar to discount. Okay, but that's some kind of sales promotion we can use. Right? Or what else? Yes.
Upsell.
Okay.
Upsell.
Upsell. Okay. What does that mean? Upsell.
So you buy one pen, and then there's another promotion that gives you 3 pen or 4 pen, but cheaper. Something like that. So at the end of the day, you buy 5 pens.
Come again. Okay. If you buy one,
Yeah.
okay, you buy this at $20.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
If
another.
you yes.
Yeah. So after they buy pen, after the customer buy the pen, and then we give another promotion. Let's say we give them eraser, or we give them another pen. So they buy 3 pen, So at the end of the day, when they want to buy one pen, because we offer the upsell, they buy 3 pen or maybe 5 pen more.
Oh, okay, you mean, if they buy 3 pens, we give them,
For example,
something else, yeah.
yeah, for example, like
As a
one pen is $10. Let's say $2, right?
Okay.
For one pen. So the customer buy $2 pen,
Uh-huh.
and then after they buy, we offer them another package, another product.
Mhm.
Maybe 3 pen for I don't know $4, or maybe 3 pen for $5. So at the end of the day, the customer buy 4, not 1.
If they buy more, they get more discount. Okay, so there's still discount, so in a different way, in a different way. Is it? Okay.
Yeah, similar.
Okay. We don't give the discount directly. Okay. We don't drop the price directly. But if you want the discount, you need to buy 3, okay, or buy 5. Okay. If we buy 5, we give like 5% discount, 10% discount. Okay, that's possible. It's still it's a very common use. It's a variation of discount. It's a variation of discount. We don't give the discount. We don't drop the price directly. But instead, you need to reach a value. Then you can enjoy the discount. Okay, that's the concept. Okay, that's good. Okay, it's a better way of dropping instead of dropping the price directly. You need to reach a value, then you give the discount. And this, within this value, okay, increase the value with it. If they're, we try to encourage them to buy more. Okay, but it's still, you can see here, we can only manipulate the price and the value with. If we are given the financial responsibility of sales revenue incentive. Okay, so revenue incentive is very often given to the sales department. Okay, normally here, in each product division, they have a sales department. Okay, maybe part of the marketing department. If they have a sales department here, sales department, salespersons, they are in charge of selling the product. When we sell the product, we don't spend the money to do the marketing expenses. They are the responsibility of the marketing department, for example. And cost, who is responsible for cost? Production. So here, very often we give the financial responsibility of cost incentive to productions, because they can control the cost without sacrificing the quality. And for R&D and marketing, they are in charge of spending the money to do R&D. And marketing department will spend the money to do marketing. They are very often given the financial responsibility of expense center. They are going to be evaluated based on how effective they use the money to do marketing, how effective they use the money to do R&D. But later in the presentation, we are going to see the financial indicators or financial measures to see whether they are doing a good job or not. In sales department, they are often given the financial responsibility of revenue incentive. They are going to be evaluated based on the sales revenue here. But in this case, you can imagine, sales department, they have only the decision authority to decide the price, or try to do something to increase the value if they drop the price, or to do a bundle, or to do the some kind of value discount. Henry just mentioned. But they have only those kind of tools that they can use. But for this department, if they are given the financial responsibility of profit center, case. A profit center, the whole department, they are comprised of sales department. The sales department is in charge of sales revenue. We try to maximize sales revenue. But the cost center here, okay, production, they are in charge of controlling the cost, right, spending the money wisely. Okay, expenses, that's the same. Here, marketing and R&D, okay, they need to do a very good job so we can increase the sales volume without spending too much. Okay, that's the concept. Okay, so in this case, it's very often, it may not be totally, okay, but very often we give the financial responsibility of profit center to the product division. Okay, and we give the financial responsibility of revenue center to the sales department, team here. Okay, marketing department and R&D department, they are given the financial responsibility of expense center. Okay, this is a very common way that we evaluate their performance. Okay. Does it make sense? Yeah. Okay. But what about and it makes more sense, right? Because marketing department is in charge of spending the money wisely. And then later we're going to tell to see the details of in the presentation. What are the financial indicators that we often use to measure the cost center, the expense center, revenue center, profit center's performance? And the last one, investment center. It's a little bit complicated. Investment center is actually here. They don't have the decision authority to decide how are we going to raise money, to raise funds, to increase the capital. In this case, only the top management team, maybe CEO or CFO, they have the decision authority to decide how are we going to raise funds to increase the equity, or are we going to use liability to borrow the money, or to use issue more stocks on the market. They are going to be evaluated. Who make this decision will be evaluated based on the efficiency or effectiveness of raising funds. So normally, in this case, we don't see very often we give each product division the responsibility of investment center, unless we allow them to become an independent company. Then they are going to have the decision authority of raising funds. Okay. So it's more like a holding group. Okay. In a holding company, if this is a holding company, we have this as an independent company who can issue their stock on the stock market. Okay. And this is another company. This is another company. In this case, probably we're going to give them the financial responsibility of investment center. They can make more decisions, financial. Okay. But conceptually, it may not be easy to understand. Right? For example, EVA is, we can quickly go through this. I think this is, conceptually, EVA is, it's a measure, financial performance measure, or financial performance indicator for the whole company. Okay. It's similar to ROA, ROE, ROI, but in a different way. It comes with more information, right? Because it takes into account the WACC. Okay. That's the difference. But it's a little bit too complicated. Okay, so I'll leave this part to the financial management professor. Okay. But here, we just focus on this. Okay. So all in all, okay, after I finish this, we can take a break. Sorry. Okay. When we evaluate the performance of a department, right, the first indicator is the financial indicator. Okay. Depending on what kind of financial responsibilities we're going to give to each different department, right? They can either be a profit center, a revenue center, a cost center, or expense center. Right? then you can easily imagine, well, if we give them the role of cost center and expense center, we're going to evaluate them how smart they spend the money. Right? It's not they spend less, the better. It's not. We hope that they can spend the money wisely. Then the money they spend can generate more revenue. That's the smart spending. Right? If they spend the money stupidly, then we're not going to increase the sales revenue. Right? That's how we're going to evaluate it. And sales revenue, revenue center is easy to understand. Right? They are given the financial responsibilities to maximize the sales revenue, but there are not much they can do. Right? As you can see here, they can do some kind of, manipulation of the price and volume. Okay? And very often, if you're a salesperson, you try to maximize sales revenue. We do discount, we do bundling, we do some kind of upsells, something like this. Or we give if we sell to the distributors, we give them a target. Okay? If you can sell 1 million, then we give you some kind of rebate. Okay? It means money back to you. Okay? It's very similar to the Cambridge model. Okay? That's the sales or channel sales promotion we often use. Okay? Rebate, or we sometimes we use cooperation fund. If you reach this target, we give you some money to do the channel marketing. Okay? For example, we give you more money to do the on-site marketing. You can put a lot of decorations in the shops, for example. And those are the sales promotions that the salespersons can make the decision on their own. Right? They are given this decision authority. Okay? So this is the overall concept. Okay? Is it clear? Okay. And then we take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to continue the presentation. We're going to see the details of the financial indicators of each different financial responsibility centers. Okay, let's take a break. Okay.